dear friends, I welcome everyone who are presently watching Sotnik-TV. It's February 29, 2020. Skunks paid by the Kremlin raged on the internet earlier today, saying Boris Nemtsov did not deserve a rally dedicated to him. The spiritual citizens would nod their dumb heads to that without even thinking that it's not about Nemtsov, but about them able to murder anyone unpleasing whenever they wish. Such an order may be given by some local supervisor, not to speak about a federal order, and no one will get punished for that. In the best of cases, some scapegoat will go to jail, just like Zaur Dadaev in the case of Nemtsov. Yet this logic is way too complicated for those single cells living inside the cave. The main episode of today is coming up next. While the World Health Organization was raising the coronavirus global risk rate to the very high, those in Russia were desperately fighting another problem. St. Petersburg Education Committee addressed the city's educational facilities with an urgent letter demanding to keep the students away from the rally in memory of Boris Nemtsov, a murdered politician. However, the rally still took place in St. Petersburg, Moscow and the rest of the country. The 5 years with Nemtsov gone have proven there is no other politician of his level inside the country. All political personalities are now controlled by armed Putin's fascists, which makes the appearance of any major political figure in modern Russia simply impossible. As such, the figure will be terminated right away. The story of Boris Nemtsov is quite illustrative. He appeared in the early 90s when his country discovered new political horizons and slightly turned towards democracy. Everything changed later on, and the newly formed State Committee of the State of Emergency still won. As for the foreign politics, Kremlin prepared for war with Turkey. It was not so long ago that Putin rolled a gas valve along with Erdogan, and now it smells like the gunpowder of the full-scale conflict. The head of Turkey demands to leave him face-to-face with Syrians, whose casualties are now immense, while Putin, according to his propaganda, takes a looming break. Today, on February 29th, Erdogan declared that over 18,000 refugees from Syria crossed the border between Turkey and the European Union. After that, it had been opened by Ankara. We cannot afford that number of refugees, the head of Turkey said during his meeting with the parliamentarians in Istanbul. That living flow is the cause of Europe destabilizing, which benefits Putin, who dreams of a chaos on that territory. The intermediate goal was achieved, starting the refugee flow. And as for those casualties among their own mercenaries, the host of the Kremlin doesn't care. The dictator set some kind of prison rules inside his own country. His main interest is internal power as well as money. The Russians accepting funds to their bank cards will soon discover their accounts arrested, and the funds taken by the government. That has to do not just with those in small business, such as sole traders, freelancers, and the specialists working at home, giving haircuts, making nails and so on, but also with those simply receiving support payments from families. The Federal Tax Service is to control every transaction between Russian bank cards starting July 1st, 2020. From that date, any citizen accepting funds to his bank card may be ordered to reimburse his VAT in the amount of 20% and to pay the 13% of his personal income tax for the past 3 years, during which he was supposedly involved in unlawful business activities. Yet Russians are not into politics, which means they will pay with their money, with their freedom and with their lives. The gangsters in uniform and with posts have gone unleashed in Russia. This is all amid the coronavirus spreading, and this possesses the threat of all Russian outbreak. Yet until the day comes that Putin turns the the constitution into the monster. They will carefully cover the number of the coronavirus victims across the country by turning that top secret. The vote procedure itself will be nothing but a clear profanity, not to mention the fact of manipulating the constitution, being the clear reason of file criminal charges against those guilty in the takeover and changing the state structure. Yet the citizens don't bother themselves in analyzing such measures. They're as scared as an ostrich breaking its head against a concrete floor by instinct. The constant lies and the propaganda approach has resulted in a twisted reality. While the Russian police plan drugs on people to increase the number of cases solved, a court in Cabo Verde sentences 10 Russian seamen to 10 to 12 years in prison for smuggling over 9 tons of cocaine. The Russian state has been captured by gangsters and turned into a drug cartel of terror. Presently, that causes a serious problem for the entire world. The problem is that the citizens don't care about the politics and they accept every fate they get. They now only strive for survival, blaming anyone else for the results of their own childishness. That was the main episode of today's show. It's 7:23 Moscow time and we are streaming live and moving forward. So the rally in memory of Boris Nemtsov took place today all over Russia. Over 1,000 participants attended in St. Petersburg and around 20,000 came over to Moscow. That number actually has risen from 15 to 22,000. They say the police even shut the entrance for some time, explaining that the amount of participants declared had been reached and no one else was allowed into the rally. Well, what do you expect? That is the junta as it is. That is nothing but some pure dictatorship. Even having another couple of thousand of those demanding let us in, the protesters still don't have enough force to scare the police. Our people have allowed that mafia into power. They have allowed fascism into their own country and now they scoop that crap with large spoons. They have a lot of skill, as that crap is inexhaustible. That makes the most of Russian riches. First of all, that rally in Moscow was attended by 22,000. Let's make it 22, let's even make it 25. But that is nothing against the 100,000 of Putin's dogs in uniform. Those equipped with helmets, tasers and truncheons to oppose civilians. They make the elite army of dogs. When they tell me that no one will stand for Putin's regime, I respond with the following. They will for a share. Those stray dogs will bite anyone, once ordered by the master, who treats them with bones. They're more dogs than humans. And while the master can afford those brutal kennels, they go unleashed, protecting him from civilian slams. They buy those slams knowing they won't be punished, and those slams are prohibited from speaking out against them. God forbid them biting an unleashed dog. That is something illegal. They will suddenly get sentenced and go to the slaughterhouse. That is a fascism, my friends. And those crooks have plenty of resources. While the West never stops bleating about the peace which such country as Russia, pretending not to realize Russia has been replaced by mafia that has captured the country, turning the citizens into hostages, who would later become a horde of co-offending zombies. That is a disaster over 1/7 of the land that can only be dealt with by means of a global embargo. To say they should stop supplying the ingredients, first of all, the children of all those authorities chilling abroad need to go back to their cave. Their property and bank accounts needs to be seized. No ingredients for that junky silage need to be supplied. Those poor Russians are forced to take it for food. What they have is not milk, or meat, or a sausage, as understood by a regular person. They have cheap substitutes along with some concentration camp ersatz, some scraps and silage. as well as the technical palm oil that keeps all those oncologists busy. So after they cut off the supplies, the great state, getting off its knees, will experience the food shortage in less than 2 months or even sooner. That will surely make those in Kremlin mad. They will start acting tougher than Kim Jong-un, who launches his missiles towards Japan every time he is in trouble due to Northern Korea being out of food again. Yet it's impossible to get rid of such abscess without cutting it with a scalpel. That won't cut on the inside, as was understood back in 2008, when they invaded Georgia. There it was, the one we all loved and missed. The evil empire was back. Boris Nemtsov was no hero. He was not ready to fight on barricades, putting his own life at risk. And neither am I. I was not ready for that as well. I'm not ready now. Nemtsov was no revolutionary fanatic. He was more of an accomplished bourgeois. That doesn't eliminate his charm, political background and his sincere will to turn his country into a better place. However, he is no hero. He is a victim. He was shot sneakily, and his life was taken. But there was no fight on barricades, you see. There was neither smoke nor fire in the streets of a riot in Moscow. That was a special operation conducted by the security services at the command of Putin. He needed to get rid of a major rival in politics, as the 2018 elections were coming in 3 years. So everything was completed 3 years prior to the election day. That needed time to be forgotten. And they did it. This is it for today. I see you next week. Help us by spreading this video, press like and support us on Patreon. Make sure your friends see this and make sure they subscribe and support us and our channel on Patreon. Even if you can't afford that yourself, you could still ask your friends to support us. And be sure to watch Sotnik-TV. I will see you next week.